I watched a 78-year-old man lose his fishing spot of 37 years in less than 3 minutes, or so a HOA president thought. She had no idea what she'd just activated. Every morning at 6 a.m., my neighbor Frank sits in his folding chair by the pond. Same spot, same faded Carhartt jacket, same thermos of black coffee. He's been doing this since 1987, the year he bought his lot, the year before his wife died. The 1.2-acre pond sits right at the edge of his property line. 3 weeping willows, 1 wooden dock, and 40 years of memories. Linda Westbrook moved into the gated community in 2019. Within 6 months, she was HOA president. Within a year, she'd find 11 families for mailbox colors, garbage can placement, and unapproved garden gnomes. She called the pond our community's crown jewel. She'd been watching Frank for weeks, waiting. This particular Tuesday, Linda marched down to the water at 6:15 a.m. She told Frank he was illegally occupying HOA common space and disturbing the aesthetic experience of residents. Frank said nothing, just kept his line in the water. Linda pulled out her phone and dialed 911. She reported an elderly trespasser refusing to leave private property and demanded immediate removal. The sheriff's deputy arrived 12 minutes later. Linda was already talking about enforcement action and setting precedents. Frank finally stood up, slowly, and asked the deputy if he'd like to see some paperwork. The deputy nodded. Frank walked to his truck and returned with a manila folder he keeps in the glove box. Inside was his original deed from 1987. The deputy read it once, then read it again. He called his supervisor, then he called the county land surveyor. Here's what Linda didn't know. When this subdivision was developed in 1985, the pond was spring-fed and legally classified under riparian water rights. Frank's deed contained a clause, perpetual and irrevocable fishing easement across all pond waters in perpetuity. The developer put it in writing because Frank, a hydraulic engineer, had consulted on the community's drainage system for free. That easement was recorded, filed, and legally binding on every single property in the HOA, including Linda's. The surveyor arrived and confirmed it in front of Linda. Frank had more right to that water than the HOA itself. But here's where it got beautiful. By calling 911 and filing a false police report, Linda had committed a misdemeanor. And by weaponizing her HOA position to harass a neighbor, she'd violated the community's own harassment bylaws. Linda was fined $2,400 by the county. The HOA board held an emergency meeting that night and removed her as president. She was required to send a written apology to Frank, posted in the community newsletter, and she lost access to the clubhouse for 1 full year. Frank still fishes every morning at 6 a.m., same chair, same coffee, same piece, and Linda drives past every day knowing she can't touch him. Never mess with a man who's been reading property deeds longer than you've been alive.